Welcome today to the webinar on our Master in Management program. My name is Hermina. It's really nice to see you all here today. And with me is Vessel. Vessel, maybe you want to quickly say something about yourself and what you do?
Yes, sure thing. Thank you so much, Hermina, and welcome everyone to this webinar. I am Vessel. I'm one of the Enrollment and Communications Officers at MSM, and I will be your main point of contact for any questions related to the Master in Management. This can be anything from scholarships to curriculum to living in the Netherlands and all sorts of topics that we will also be covering in today's webinar. So if you have any questions, let us know, and I'll be happy to tell you more.
Thanks, Vessel. And my name is Hermina, and I'm in charge of the enrollment team here at Maastricht School of Management. And basically, we take care of everything, the non-academic side of things. So from the first time you're in contact with us, all the way through to when you graduate and afterwards. So I'm going to share my screen now, and so that we can get started. All right, hopefully you can all see my screen. And so today the topic is about the return on investment for a Master in Management and what you can expect from it. It is obviously something that is very important because it is an investment of your time, of your money. You come abroad to Maastricht in the Netherlands. And so obviously you need to make sure that this is the right fit for you and that you know also what the expectations are of what you can get out of it. So today, Vessel and I will be talking about that. As I've mentioned, we are there also throughout the session to help you. So there is a chat function where Vessel will be posting links and information, also his email address you can see here, but he'll share it also in the chat. And but there's a Q&A tab normally within the functions within the webinar. And so any questions you have, please post it via the Q&A at any time during the webinar because you might have missed some information or you might have some questions. And Vessel will be managing the Q&A. And then if there are any questions that are useful for also to discuss at the end, don't hesitate. Vessel will also make note of those and we might still discuss those at the end if we've got time. So thank you very much and let's get started. The first thing, well, obviously, we just want to give you a breakdown of what we'll be covering today. We'll talk about the general information about MSM, about the Netherlands, about Maastricht, so that you also know what to expect from that perspective before we go into the actual topic today. And to be able to know what your return on investment is of a Master in Management is that it's also you need to know what the market needs. I do see that there's a typo here that it says about the MBA, but it's obviously the Master in Management that we will be talking about and what it offers you and what you can expect from that. And then the practical information of the prices and the question, and then obviously the time for the question and answer. So first question, let's go into why the Netherlands. So it's good to know that the Netherlands is in Europe. It's centrally located between Germany and Belgium, also on the border of, quite close to a lot of other countries. So it makes it quite interesting from a travel perspective because you'll be on the, on the fringe of several countries to go and explore. And what is good to know is that the Netherlands is one of the top ranked education systems in the world. It's one of the top 5 of higher education systems. So that means that if you are looking to get a good Master in Management degree, the Netherlands is a great country to go into for that. And then the final thing that I want to highlight from the Netherlands perspective is a little bit about the Dutch culture. Now, the Dutch culture is something that is good from a hierarchical perspective, because from a working perspective, the Dutch have a very flat hierarchical system. So it's very easy to connect with your peers and your bosses to have discussions and to actually make meaningful impact and influence in your career and your work after your studies. But also from a career perspective, the Netherlands, the fact that they speak such fluent English does mean that you have the advantage of being able to connect easier with the labor market here in the Netherlands. On top of that, with the Netherlands, after your studies, you can actually stay for a year with the orientation year permit. Now, that orientation year permit actually allows you 1 year to look for a job, to do projects, consulting, get get some experience, do an internship, whatever you choose. But it is a free option for you. You get that 1 year to decide if you want to stay in the Netherlands. But after that year, so 1 year of study, and then after the year of orientation permit, you obviously do need to have a work permit to stay in the Netherlands. And then another highlight I wanted to mention is that the Dutch are famous for their work-life balance, that they have a very happy culture. It's one of the happiest nations in the world, also because of this work-life balance. In fact, a lot of students say when they arrive here that the Dutch actually work to live rather than live to work. And that's it's something really refreshing when you come from a culture where there's a lot of pressure on working very long hours. A little bit more about Maastricht itself. Now, Maastricht is a beautiful city in the Netherlands. It's in the south of the Netherlands, all the way down to in between Belgium and Germany. And you can see it's 10 minutes away from the Belgium border and about 30 minutes away from the German border. So it's a very international city. It's easy for international students to be able to adapt as well, to feel at home. In fact, our students always say it's small enough to feel at home immediately, but big enough never to get bored. So there's always something happening. It's a very historical. It's one of the oldest city in the Netherlands. There's this claiming dispute whether it's Netherlands, Maastricht or Nijmegen, one of the two cities, to be the oldest. And so it's also it's got that magical charm, this historical element to it that makes it very, very beautiful and interesting to live in. And it is a student city, so students always there's a lot of things going on that makes them just make it a very vibrant and alive city. Now, when we look at the University of Maastricht specifically, obviously that's part of the choice. You don't just choose the country, you also look at which university you want to study in. Now, MSM is part of the university. And so I want to talk a little bit first about the university itself. So the university is massive, but it is one of the 9 best, youngest universities in the world. That's quite a nice thing to know about, because it means that the way they look at things, they're not as stuck in bureaucratic traditions. It's a lot more flexible and fluid than a lot of the older universities, but it's ranked really well for that. It's got Triple Crown accreditation, which means this is important, that your degree will be recognized worldwide. So the Triple Crown accreditation is like a stamp of quality by the 3 main accreditation bodies in the world. And only 1% of business schools actually achieve this status. So it's good to know that your degree will have a Triple Crown accredited stamp of approval. The campus of Maastricht, where you will have classes with us, is in the center of Maastricht. It's in a park. The deers are running around and birds, and it's beautiful, absolutely stunning. A little castle with a little water moat. Yes, it's a really beautiful place to study. And if you do want to know more about that, we actually do have a YouTube channel where we did a tour of the Maastricht campus, and so I would recommend checking that out. Now, if we look at MSM specifically, we are one of the oldest business schools in the Netherlands. We were founded in 1952, and we recently merged about 3 years ago with the University of Maastricht to join forces, which does mean that as a student of MSM, you will have the personalized hands-on experience from MSM teaching, but you will also have access to all of the university options as well. So all the university career services, all the university counseling, clubs, social events, all of that you as a student have access to, as well as the MSM events that we also organize for our own MSM students. So that is something that's an advantage. Also good to know that separates us is how international we are. We have students coming from all over the world. I will talk about that again later, but it's good to know that that is something that's a huge advantage as well. and then our teaching approach we'll also talk about shortly. Now, a little bit about the market needs, because obviously, if you want to get return on investment, you want to be able to provide what the market needs, right? And you need to give the companies what they want. So you need to learn knowledge that's going to be useful to those companies. You need to learn skills that's going to be beneficial to the market. But firstly, I did want to highlight that the Dutch market is actually still quite stable and good at the moment. These there was a slight dip beginning of last year when there was the fuel crisis, the energy crisis, the Ukraine war, things sort of like it was this perfect storm where there was a lot of hiring freezes very temporarily, but that picked up again and it's been quite stable since then. And we are still at a situation that there are more jobs available than people in the Netherlands. So right now, there's still a positive effect for the Dutch markets for students looking for jobs. There are more jobs available than people. So that's good to know. I also wanted to talk about the skills because obviously that's finding a job is also about having the right skills for that job. And one part of skills is the hard skills. Now, hard skills are the skills that you've learned during your studies that are specific to that job. Like in engineering, there will be certain things or tools that you've learned, knowledge that can be taught that is really specific. Same with law, you'll know all those legal terms and things. Those are hard skills. Soft skills are more the social, interactive, connective skills that is related to how you work with other people. So things like creative thinking, networking, communication skills, presentation skill, influencing skills. Those are skills that are the soft skills that are important. And I know in some backgrounds, some degrees, a lot of focus is on the hard skills. With management, we focus on both. And the reason we do that is because of how important it is in the Netherlands. And I'll talk briefly about that. So when we look at that, we want to know also what do companies want. And the first thing you need to know is the top 10 skills that are expected according to World Economic Forum for this year and in 2 years' time. And there's some overlap. There's some overlap between in fact, there's not much difference. It's just in which will be most important when. But creative thinking is listed in both, analytical thinking listed in both, this digital knowledge, technological knowledge, and artificial intelligence, big data that's becoming huge. Having that lifelong learning, adaptability, resilience, and flexibility, that's very important. And then also the self-awareness. That's going to be important to be able to continue knowing where are your strengths, what do you still need to learn, how can you develop that, and that is also a skill, a soft skill that's esteemed as very important for the top skills in the future. So this is the list. The reason why I said, but we'll talk about that, why I've mentioned this is because just now when we talk about the curriculum, I'll highlight then just briefly how these skills have been integrated into the master in management so that the knowledge that you're going to learn is also going to be useful to what these companies are looking for. Something else I just wanted to talk about quickly, just to think about, is how this is changing. And for me, this is sort of like a moment where I'm always like, wow, is that if children starting primary school today, about more than half of them, 65% of them, the jobs that they'll be doing when they've finished studying don't exist yet. And that's also crazy. That's one of those reasons, again, why adaptability, creative thinking, resilience is going to be so important in the future. Another thing that's quite a scary statistic is that 50% of the jobs will be done by machines in the near future, which means that a lot of the way we work is going to change. And that's also why it's important to know that there are two trends that seem to be looking towards for this future. The first one is there will be somewhat increase in technical jobs. That's normal because, some people need to be able to manage these robots and computers. And then the second trend is that there'll be a focus on the jobs that computers and robots can't do, the human-centric jobs. And so because of that, the jobs that they expect to increase in importance in the future are the sales and marketing jobs, education and training. And then I highlighted that obviously because of today's topic, business and financial management. So those are the jobs that they expect to become more important in the future. And then lastly, of course, engineering. Now, if we look at our master in management, I want to talk today about that specific. So I do want to highlight, we're not talking about our MBA today. We did the webinar on that last week. We've done several in the last few months. So if you wanted to know more about our MBA, we've got a full-time MBA and we've got an online MBA. If you want to know more about that, please go check out those webinars or keep an eye open for that in the future. So today specifically on the Master in Management. And what is our Master in Management in comparison to the online MBA or our global or our full-time MBA? The first thing is that our Master in Management is geared towards young, high potential candidates. So students with 0 to 3 years of work experience after their studies. So we're not looking for experienced people of more than 3-4 years work experience. If you have that working experience, then you would be better suited for an MBA. So if you are in that bracket, don't hesitate to reach out. We can provide you more information about the full-time MBA or the online MBA. But today I'm really going to talk about the Master in Management and how that is focused towards the young, high potential graduate that wants to progress in career in a fast, sustainable way, that has a helicopter view, that understands business, so that whatever you do in the future, you'll be able to do it with that view of looking at business and understanding all of it. Okay, so a little bit about a Master in Management profile. The class size is average somewhere between 25 and 35 students. This year we're at 36, so each year it changes a little bit. We don't go higher than 40 students per year because we want to keep that personalized, interactive connection in the class, and when it gets too big, you lose that. So we really cap it at 40 students max. It is good to know that the program runs really well. So if you are interested, and Vessel will talk about this again at the end with the practical information, but there are specific deadlines, and the sooner you apply, the more chance you still have of being accepted for this year. Now, the average age of the student is between 25 and 30. I'd say each year it changes a little bit, but this year the average age is about 27. And there's quite a well-balanced ratio between the genders, and the average working experience is about 2 years. We also have students coming from all different nationalities and all different types of backgrounds, and we do that on purpose. We look to create that balanced cohort so that you can learn from one another. If you're only in a class of engineers learning about management, you're all going to look at that management from one perspective. Well, if you're in a class of people coming from finance and marketing and sales and engineering and IT, you're all going to look at it from different perspectives. And so that's part of the beauty of the Master in Management. For our full-time program, so both the Master in Management and our full-time MBA, we call it the pressure cooker. And we've created this on purpose, once again, linked to one of those soft skills I talked about, the time management, the stress management, and the resilience to stress. So this is something that's one of the skills that's going to be very important for you to learn during your year at MSM, because it's going to be such a huge advantage after you finished your studies. So how do we do it? Well, the year is a 1-year program. It's not a 2-year Master in Management, so 1-year Master in Management. And in that 1 year, you will cover a host of different courses. There are no electives, you do everything. And in that year, each course is divided into 2 weeks, with the exception of the more personalized hands-on courses. So there are 1 or 2 courses, and I'll show you just now on the curriculum that there are 1 or 2 courses that go throughout the year. But for the rest, your courses are blocked into 2 weeks per course. So what I mean with that is if you take marketing, for example, for the first week of course in the marketing, you'll have class nonstop, 9 to 5. And in the second week of that course, the second week of the marketing, you will work on your group and individual assignments. Group assignments are also very important, once again, from a soft skills perspective, teaching you leadership skills, influencing skills, presentation skills, networking skills. Um, Also, with cultural sensitivity, all of those things will be taught thanks to those group works. At the end of that second week, you submit your assignments and then you move through to the next course, for example, leadership, human resources. And then you once again have 2 weeks for that. 1 week of class, in class and 9 to 5, and then 1 week of working on those assignments, submit the assignments, and then move through to economy, for example, economics. Throughout the year, you'll also have career and personal development track, which is an extracurricular track, which I'll talk about again in another slide, but it's to really help you provide you with the tools that you will need to stand out on the job market after your studies. Now, I mentioned in the beginning about the teaching philosophy that makes MSM stand out. And it's something that we're really proud of is the way our teachers have that combination of experiences. So it's not just a theoretical class. You will have a theoretical basis. You have to, it's still a university degree, but there's a lot of hands-on knowledge that's being taught. You're taught to learn by doing, by thinking. There's this case-based learning that you discuss real cases, real companies with real issues, and you come up with these solutions for them. There's also quite a lot of company visits involved, guest lectures from various expert industries coming to talk. And also in several courses, a simulation game to actually prepare yourself for real life scenarios. So this, we don't believe in just teaching the theory, we believe actually applying that theory. Now, when you look at that curriculum, as I've mentioned, it's quite a well-balanced curriculum, covering a host of different topics, ranging from managing cultural diversity, marketing, entrepreneurship, strategy, digital transformation, economics, finance, human resources, all of the key topics you need to understand how business works and how to thrive within a company, if it's your own or if you're working for someone. But throughout this, there's this core DNA of what MSM believes is important, and that's is focused on sustainable development, entrepreneurship and innovation, and then this future forward thinking on how AI and this digital revolution is taking us to the next level. And we try and prepare you as much as possible for that. We do that also through consulting projects. So that's part of your curriculum. You'll see that you will do and every year the theme changes. Sometimes it's on digital transformation, sometimes it's on sustainable development theme, but you pair it into groups and the groups work on a specific project for a real company with a real issue. And this is part of your credits. You also get a personal development program in which you're working on your interpersonal skills, where you get some consulting experience as well in the course. So it's a very useful course also for students that don't have that much working experience yet, but need to learn how to interact with various levels within the society. Now, I've mentioned as well that we're very proud of how diverse our cohorts are. Our students come from all different backgrounds. And when I say that, it's, I've already mentioned that you've got a really nice, complete package of opinions in that group, thanks to the way they come from and what they studied and what they did. So some students have work experience, some don't. Some have lived abroad, some haven't. And so it's a whole lot of things you can learn from one another as well throughout the year. In many cases, we've had students that actually started companies together with one another, or an alumni and a student that started a company thanks to one of our alumni networking events. So there's a lot of connections that are made, and students, finding ways to develop that further. Another thing that we're very proud of is our professors that have this combination or mix of theoretical and hands-on knowledge. A lot of the professors teach around the world. They're international profiles. We also have some local professors, so there's that mix as well that you also get local opinions in throughout the course. But they also have consulting work experience or have worked in top brand companies and now are working at MSM. So you're really going to be exposed to a whole lot of different styles, a lot of different knowledge, a lot of different experiences throughout the year. Most importantly, the professors are very well known for being approachable. Okay. Something else that's always interesting for students to know is that we work according to assignments. So you don't have exams anymore for your courses. So per course, you will always have at least one individual assignment. And then in most courses, there's also a group assignment connected to the coursework. And it's often linked to the company visit that you had or a case study or a guest lecture. So it tries to once again make the knowledge applicable to real life. Now, the interesting thing about the individual assignments is it's also teaching you a lot of those soft skills that I mentioned in one of those previous slides, because you're learning to apply the knowledge that you've gained during the class, but you're also applying this knowledge to your field of interest. So what I mean with that is the assignment, let's take marketing, for example. You get to analyze a company and a product that they might have to grow in a new market, for example, but you decide which company you want to analyze and which market they should enter. So say now you are interested in finance. Well, you can go and analyze a financial company. Say now you're interested in sustainability. Well, you analyze a sustainable company. And throughout the year, your assignments will be like that, linked to context that you decide is relevant to your future career. So not only are you deepening your knowledge in management in general, but you'll also be deepening your knowledge in your own field of interest, so that when you finish your master in management, you also have gained additional knowledge in that field, so that whatever direction you want to go into for your working experience, you will already have gained that additional knowledge through these assignments. What's also good to know is these assignments help with creative thinking, analytical thinking. In quite a lot of the assignments, you have to add knowledge about AI. You have to analyze it or use AI in a very specific way. So it's also helping you prepare for the future of how things are changing in this AI world. So there's a lot of things that you're also learning from the soft skills that's going to be useful for you for your future career. Now, we also have that career and personal development track that I mentioned, and this also focuses a lot on soft skills. Now, the career and personal development track, we divided into three main pillars. You have your personal development focus pillar. You've one that's focusing specifically on career skill developments. And then the third pillar, which is on societal and social extracurricular pillars. Now, the personal development pillar is still linked to career. So the skills that will be important for your career. So those top 10 skills that I mentioned again in that slide, those are the type of things we will also look at. We'll look at getting to know yourself better, knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are. So that self-awareness, that's so important. Improvisation skills is one of the workshops that we do there. Also, once again, to enhance that flexibility and adaptability that is so important in today's world. We have from a skill development side, for example, we work on how to write a good CV and motivation letter for the Dutch job market, how to prepare and execute a good interview situation, how to handle networking. So these are the type of skills that we help you develop during that year as well. And then from a societal and social extracurricular activity, we do themes around Women's Day, around Earth Day. We do sustainable events. We do some multicultural events, all events to try and help you with networking and connect with topics that are relevant to today's situation as well. Now, talking a little bit about those events, one of the things we also do is student chat challenges. So we actually just did the kickoff yesterday for the 2024 SDD challenge, the MSM SDD challenge, so the Sustainable Development Goals. And students are then linked to companies that are working on real sustainable issues that they have. And students are given a challenge and they meet the companies and then they go there for a 1 day where they do a sprint day with them, where they get to meet all the different departments, they get the tour of the company, they talk about the problem with the CEOs, and they come up with an idea that they actually want to develop further. If the company approves this idea to develop, then they go and actually work on it. And then you get to the SCG final. And then on that day, they actually pitch their idea to the whole audience. And then obviously the one that wins goes through to the Dutch SCG challenge. That's their national challenge. So it's a very exciting moment for our students. Also because it helps them once again get that hands-on knowledge, so and they can apply what they're learning in class to real situations with real companies. And it's a lot of fun at the same time. Now, obviously, all of this sounds great, I hope. And it's, as I mentioned, it's a big decision to make, and we're also here to help you with that. But I also wanted to talk a little just about the expected returns. So um, from a specific money-wise thing, it's very difficult to calculate. So I always like to just put this slide on, remember to remind you that wealth is not just about money, but it's about a lot of having those options. And that's what we try to provide you with this master in management. So what can it provide you? Well, the first thing is that the curriculum, as I've shown you, has this focus on sustainability, on this digital future that we're already entering right now, and on entrepreneurship. And when I talk about entrepreneurship, it's entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. So also being creative within your own working environment, even if you don't have your own company. And it's also focused on needs of the markets, teaching you skills that the market actually needs, like big data, digital transformation. That's all covered in your curriculum. The hands-on learning we've talked about, you have these company visits, simulation games. All of this means that when you finish your studies, you actually know how to do these things. It's not just about what you learned in a book. You actually have learned already to apply. And so when you start working at a company, you just hit the ground running with them. The thesis, I didn't really talk about that much. There is a thesis during your Master in Management year. It's an academic research paper. But it teaches you to really go and think about what a company needs, what the environment needs, what the society needs. If you have an idea for a company, for your own company, you can look at what the possibilities are. And it's all of this is going to help you look at how to solve a specific issue in a creative way. It encourages critical thinking. It encourages creative problem solving, all skills that are seen as very important for the future. Individual assignments, we've talked about how that teaches you to go and apply and think for yourself, but also to go and learn more. As I mentioned, you choose how you want to go take on this topic. And so you're going to have to do research by yourself as well. And this is a very important skill for the future, being able to teach yourself and to go look further for yourself and think for yourself. The group assignments, we've talked about that briefly and how important that is on teaching the teamwork, training with others, working with others, communicating in a cultural way that is open-minded. All of these skills are very important in this world that's becoming a global village. And then the self-awareness and soft skill development that we talked about throughout the year, both in your course and in the career and personal development track, is going to make you a better team manager in the future. And this is going to be very important. Throughout the year, also going to be focusing on giving a lot of presentations. So students often then in the beginning of the year tell me, one of my biggest fears is presentation skills. By the end of the year, when they finish, they're like, oh, the presentations, that's not a problem, easy peasy. It is incredible to see the growth in that perspective, how students grow in learning how to give effective presentations during the year at MSM. It also helps with communication skills and how to tell a better story about your situation. So also for pitching in the future to your own company, to your boss about an idea that you have. This is a skill that's going to be very important that you're going to learn during your year at MSM. As mentioned, it's a very international program, students coming from all over the world. And so that will also help with increasing the sensitivity to cultural awareness, which is really important nowadays. So having that open-mindedness is going to make a huge difference as well after your studies. It is a pressure cooker. I have mentioned that. I don't want to lie about that. So I also need you to know that this is something to consider. Can you handle the stress? Are you someone that is stress resistant? Because it's going to be 1 year of craziness. It's going to be fun, but it is going to be intense. But one thing is sure, even if you were a pro time manager beforehand, you're going to be even better afterwards because time management and stress management is something that you will learn during your year. That is a guarantee. And then from a career and personal development track perspective, as I mentioned, you're going to get a lot of hands-on experiences and tips and knowledge and workshops to learn about yourself and learn about the job market and how to stand out on the job market and how to sell yourself during these networking events. Right. If there are any questions, I've come to the end of my section. Wessel will take over now to talk about the practical information regarding prices, deadlines, application. But if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to post them in the Q&A because we'll get to that at the end of the webinar. So, Wessel, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Amina, and I'm sure we will get some nice questions in the Q&A. Now, I'll cover the more practical side of the Master in Management, so really about what you can expect from a practical point of view when wanting to apply for the program. So we will kick things off with tuition fees. The full tuition fee for the Master in Management at this moment is 18,500 euros. Of course, MSM does also offer some scholarships, which we will get into on this slide as well. We offer a huge range of scholarships. This means that we provide opportunities for people coming from all different backgrounds. So whether that is a technical background or if you've done volunteering, if your family has a business, if you've done extremely well academically, there's got to be a scholarship that suits your profile. So definitely check out our website. We will also link the scholarships at the end of the webinar. My biggest advice is if you are in doubt which scholarship is a good match for you, we have our lovely team of recruiters who are ready to help you and give advice on which scholarships could fit for you. So please reach out to us. And we can also give you some personalized advice and advise which scholarships are the right ones. For now, the most practical information is that we are heading into the third round of applications. So this also means that if you want to apply for any specific scholarships, like our more valuable or exclusive scholarships, like the Academic Excellence, the Women Ambassadorship, and the Excellence in Versatility, you will have to apply for this scholarship before the 1st of May. Scholarships can only be applied for during your application. So we can't accept any scholarships after you have submitted your application. So this is something very important that I want to give to everyone to make sure that you include the scholarships you want to apply for in your online application directly. Same goes for the early bird discount. So we do have only one round left where you can still benefit from the early bird discount. So that is if you apply before the 24th of March and you make your down payment of 25% before the 1st of May, you can still get that early bird discount as well. In terms of general application deadlines, we are heading into that final leg of applications for our Master in Management. As Amina mentioned, the class is filling up quite quickly. So if you do want to join this year's intake still, make sure to apply as soon as possible. The final deadline for non-European students is the 30th of June. So that is still a couple of months away, but we are heading into it quite quickly and time flies, as I'm sure most of you know. The final deadline for non-European students is 25th of August, but for those students counts as well. Please apply as soon as possible if you have made your decision to commit to the Master in Management. Then, what does it look like to actually submit your application at MSM? We have an online application portal. So your full application will be done digitally. You can create an account on our campus.msm.nl online portal, and then you can start your application for the program that you are actually applying for, which in this case would be the Master in Management. The portal will save your application as you fill out the information. So you don't have to submit it all at once. Of course, we can only consider a complete application. So do make sure that you have uploaded all the information that is required from the portal. This can be, for example, your CV, your bachelor's degree and your transcripts, a proof of English, since the program will be fully in English. We do require an IELTS, TOEFL, Pearson, Cambridge, any recognized English test. There are some exceptions that will be listed on the website. I will also share the link with you so you can fully read what we will expect of you. But this proof of English is very important when wanting to study in English as well. Then the general documents like your passport, very important to mention the recommendations. So also the letter of recommendations are submitted directly in the portal. So what that will look like is you will be able to enter the information of the person giving the reference for you. They will then receive an email from the system asking them to submit a series of questions and also score you based on some of those skills that are very important for MSM. So they can also do this directly in the system and don't have to write an official letter of recommendation beforehand. And then also very important for our application process is the motivation letter. This is something that we really take a hard look at when evaluating our potential students. So definitely make sure to put some effort into this one. It really shows us who you are, why you want to study at MSM, why you want to come to the Netherlands for 1 year. So this is definitely just a glimpse of who you are as a person, which makes it very important for our admission office. Once you've filled out all the details in the application portal, you can submit your application. We have an application fee of 95 euros, and after you have paid the application fee, your application will be officially submitted. Our admission office will review all of your documents. In case anything is missing, they will make sure to reach out. This can be the validity of your passport, any questions about your transcripts, basically anything related to the documents and the information you've put in. If everything is okay and they give the green light, then we will schedule your interview. This will be an interview with two MSM colleagues. It's more so to elaborate a bit more on your CV and your motivation letter to really get to know who you are as a person, because of course the way you come across in writing might be completely different from how you are as a person. So an interview will also cover that part. After the interview, everything will go to the admission board and they will make a final decision on your admission. If you are admitted, you have the option to either take a GMAT test, which most universities offering business degrees will require. At MSM, it is not required. You have the option to either take the GMAT or choose MSM's leveling courses or preparatory courses. These are courses that are offered by MSM that need to be completed before starting the program. You can take these courses online, so you can fully do it before you start the program from home. You will get the link to complete the courses. Each course does take some effort, so it's not something you can finish within 1 day. So definitely also calculate some time to finish those courses before you start the program. Then that is most of the practical information that we usually cover for these programs. Of course, I'm sure you have many other questions related to the contents of the program, and that is why our team is there to help you answer those. So for any program related questions, please reach out to our recruiters. Of course, we have also covered the MBAs in previous webinars. If you have any questions about those, you can reach out to Alina and Inka. For any questions specifically about the Master in Management, please reach out to me. You can send me an email. I also have WhatsApp, and I'd love to also connect over Zoom. We have our admissions team, so Steph, Carlo, and Gianluca, who are also ready to answer any questions about your documents, your English tests, anything related to your application will be answered by them. We have a bunch of resources you can check out. So you can actually chat to some of our students and alumni ambassadors over at UniBuddy to ask them any questions about how they experience the program, any tips and tricks on what you need to prepare before you make the big move. They are to help as well. And then, of course, we are also found online, so you can check out our YouTube channel. We have a bunch of webinar recordings that we have posted over there, alumni stories, any other promotional videos, campus tours, recaps of previous years. So if you want to see how other students have experienced their master in management, then definitely check out our YouTube channel. And of course, the website and social media channels where you can find out more about the programs and MSM as a whole. We do also offer a lot of events, not only here in the Netherlands, but our team also travels the world. So we do come to a lot of different countries all over the world to meet you in person. So definitely check out our events page as well to see where we will be heading, and make sure to register for a personal chat as well. All right, that is all the practical questions. So that only leaves us with the Q&A. We do have some questions, so thank you so much for submitting your questions. And then I think, Amina, this will be one for you.
Yeah.
Someone would like to know how big of a factor will the GPA be in terms of their application?
Okay, good question. Look, the GPA, I'm going to say, is not the main criteria. It's part of the criteria. So we will look at the whole package, the whole application. If you did struggle to pass all your courses and you struggle to pass it in the normal amount of time, but if you've got a valid reason for it, we've had students that their parents got very sick and they had to take care of them and they were working part-time. There's a lot of individual reasons and stories. We're open, so we listen and we discuss and we'll look at the rest of what you did with that. So if you've got extracurricular activities, if you excelled in other areas, all of that is important. So the GPA is not the only indicator for us. But obviously, when a student has got a great GPA, plus did really well in his IELTS or TOEFL, plus was captain of like 3 different societies or leader of whatever, or working at an NGO and volunteering, those are the wonderful candidates. But it's not just that. So we look at the whole picture.
Great. Thank you so much. Then we have one more question about how will I be able to study if I also want to work next to my studies? Do you have any advice on that?
So I've got 2 things. Firstly, is working during your studies here in the Netherlands is not really a feasible option with your student visa. So your student visa will only allow maximum 16 hours per week to do like a student type of job, and then you do need to get a different type of health insurance visa on top of that. So some of our students do that with like waitressing or like delivery, for food deliveries, that type of apps. But it's not something that we recommend. So we always recommend, if you can, to rather just enjoy that 1 year of studying, experiencing everything to the maximum. So taking part on all the extracurricular challenges and networking events that we offer, rather than having to sacrifice that experience by working. We do understand sometimes it's necessary financially, and that's why I said there is that 16 hours, but it's not going to cover the costs of living for a year. If you are in that situation where financially you do need to work at the same time, we're working on an online master in management. And the online master in management, we hope to launch next year, September. So it's something that's in the works. We hope by May to start promoting it. So we're getting there. Nothing's official yet. That's why I can't provide any information about it yet. But if you're in that situation where you can't stop working, but you do want to get a master in management, well, we will have that solution soon. So if you're in that situation, I would rather recommend waiting a little bit. If you already have too much experience, we do have the online MBA already, But for that, you need at least 5 years working experience. And for the online MBA, at least the good news is there you work at the same time and you study. So that's exactly for that specific situation.
Great. I hope that that answered their question. Then we have one more question, which I think I will answer myself. Someone is asking, what is the possibility of 100% full scholarship? Now, I did cover a small part of the scholarships in this webinar, and we don't have any fully funded scholarships from MSM side at this moment. We offer partial scholarships. For the Master in Management, the maximum discount is 35%. Of course, what I would recommend in this case is also send me an email. We do know from experience that depending on the country you come from, there will be organizations who offer either loans or fully funded scholarships depending on your profile. So we would be happy to check together with you and if there are any other options. But from MSM side, it's only partial scholarships at this moment.
Perfect. Thanks, Vessel. I think, has there anything else popped up, or is that good for now?
We did receive one final question. I think someone would like a bit more clarification on the assignments. They are asking if there will be writing exams along with the assignments, or if the assignments are the full examination at
The
MSM.
assignments are the full exams. So we've moved completely away from like that parrot-based learning by heart and then just spitting it all out again, in an exam. We don't do that anymore. Studies have shown over and over again that the best way to learn is by applying knowledge through assignments, rather than just learning and then forgetting. So exams are a thing of the past for us, so we focus on assignments.
Great. I think that was our last question in the webinar. Of course, if anyone else has any other questions, they can make sure to reach out to me. Our contact details are also in this webinar slides that will be shared very soon after this webinar.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for joining today. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for listening to us. Like Vessel said, don't hesitate to reach out. We know it is a big decision to make. There's a lot of money involved. You're coming abroad, leaving your country. There's a lot of stress. We're there to help you with that. So do not hesitate to reach out so that we can help you answer any of those questions you might have. Vessel, I just see one person just asked about English test. You're busy answering, but it's so for the EU students, it's not compulsory to do an IELTS or a TOEFL. What we normally do then is request a Duolingo English test. It's sort of like a compromise solution where we still get to make sure that the level is sufficient without having that additional IELTS preparation. The reason why it is important for people that are not from the EU to get the IELTS or the TOEFL is because of the visa. So that's not something linked just to us. It's actually the IND that requires to be able to give a visa that you have an IELTS or a TOEFL. But for the EU, obviously, if you don't need that visa, then to just check your English, we do it with the Duolingo standard English test. So it is an alternative that we offer then. Yes. Well, I think that's everything then for today. So thank you everyone for joining, and enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully see you soon.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.